Okay, so now inside of the MOD folder, new file called app.php. Inside of this file, again, opening PHP tag, we start with if isn't empty, we're expecting the post with the index path. So if it isn't empty, if it's been sent to our file, then we require once first autoloader again. So inc autoload.php. After this one, create the folder variable and we assign the substring of the post path to it. We want to remove the first character, which will be the /. So now we check if is an empty folder, else we go to the root directory, so rel equals ds, app equals null, and before rel we also need to create path equals root path. And if folder isn't empty, then what we're going to do is folder equals explode. We're going to exploit it with the path directory separator, obviously our folder string. Now we have folder array, so we can check whether the if count folder is more than 1, meaning that it's still, obviously this is array. In this case, if we have more than one item inside of this array, then we want to array pop the last one. We want to remove the last item folder by simply using array pop PHP function. Then rel equals ds.implode, and now we're imploding the remaining array elements with the direct separator folder to create the previous path basically. Then up equals, I'm going to scroll up, li class folder up rel go hyphen up, then go up 3 dots closing li single quote and semicolon at the end. So this is happening if obviously we have more than one item inside of this array, meaning the path, let's say, was something like this, inc folder, for instance. So that means we're going to have 2 items after removing the first statement. Obviously, down up here removes the first first character of the string. So we've removed this, then we exploded this with the directory separator. So these 2 elements are now 2 separate items inside of the array. This statement would be true in this case because obviously you have 2 of them, not just one. If the initial path was just inc with a / before this, then the following statement would be executed. So else, again, let's scroll up a little bit. Else we're going to have up equals null, rel equals ds, directory separator basically. Obviously, folder value will remain the same because obviously here we're simply popping up and the name remains the same. Obviously it's shorter by 1 element of this array, and otherwise it just goes from what it was up here. So if we scroll down now, after our last else statement, I'm going to create a few new lines so you can see it. Again, output buffering, start, require once, we're going to require our structure file, structure.php. After this, out variable, and we get the output, the content of the output basically assigned to this out variable as a string, and we need to echo this as a JSON array. So JSON encode array out equals out basically. That's it inside of our app.php file, and that's everything in this series. But before we say goodbye, let's just test it. So refresh the page, we go to inc folder, click on go up, nothing happens. Well, let's open Firebug and let's figure out what have we done wrong. If we click on this, click on go up, replace with data out. Doesn't seem to be working. Data is not defined. So if we go back, open our JS folder and core.js, we obviously have a problem with our go up method. As I can see already, rather than data, I put date as the parameter here. So if we save it now, refresh the page, close the firebar, click on images, I'm here, going up. Wow, undefined variable path. Structure directly, structure. Okay, on line 2. That would again mean that there was something wrong inside of the app.php file. So if we look at this file, if empty folder, if count array is more than 1. Okay, one thing I've forgotten to do is obviously path here, root underscore path dot rel, which is obviously path of the root folder, plus we need to attach this rel to make sure that we have a new path defined for our structure folder, which we haven't done. So again, refresh, click on images, go up, we go back, INC, go up, classes, go up, seem to be working, fine. Now we have these files, let's click on one, hey, it shows the icon, perfect. So it's linking to the relevant file, there we go, JS, PNG, lovely. Now, one thing I want to test is the empty folder. So if we go back, we can close obviously all these files because it seemed to be working. So if we now, let's say create, let's go to the images folder, let's create one folder called test. And inside of this test, we're going to create another folder, let's call it empty. Now if we go back, refresh, we go to images, there we go, our test folder. An empty folder, as you can see, is graded out and we haven't got a link to it. So perfect, seems to be working fine. Go up, and that's all done.